A memoir is not the same thing as an autobiography. An autobiography is the story of your life. A memoir is a memory of a personal experience. In this assignment, I want you to choose a personal experience that has meaning for you. Try to limit the scope of the experience you write about. Write about something that took place in a day or over a weekend, rather than an overview of an event that happened over a longer period of time. This will make it easier for you to focus and to bring the event to life in the reader's mind. In The Liars Club, Mary Karr puts the reader into the story immediately. She does this by starting with a scene. She doesn't bore you with a bunch of background information. You can work in the background information later. She also focuses on a few small details, like the pattern on her nightgown or the doctor's mustache that looks like a caterpillar. By homing in on a few small, well-chosen details, she allows you, the reader, to fill in the rest of the picture. This is the essence of creative writing. Each reader participates in the process. We each see a different picture and rely on our own experiences to fill the picture in. We experience life in scenes, and that's the way readers want to experience a story. Try to write scene rather than summary. So, 2 important things to keep in mind as you begin your memoir assignment. Choose an incident that you can depict in a scene. Not too large an incident, because we're not writing a book, we're writing 6 to 10 pages. Choose a scene of dimension that you can handle well in that length. Give the reader a few choice, well-described, specific details to hang on to anchor the scene. Let me give you an illustration. Over the years, I've received many memoirs about travel, which is understandable because while a trip may not change your life, it at least offers a change in perspective and an opportunity to be surprised, to learn new things about new places. But don't write about the flight. Airplane flights are boring, unless the plane was hijacked or crashed.
Whenever I start to talk about Elaine, I always get so carried away. I lose all track of time.
Well, I could go on for hours, but I'd probably start to bore you. You know, I really couldn't blame Elaine. She wanted a career.
You can fly to Greece in a sentence. That night we flew to Greece. Move the story. And you will do better if you emphasize the highlight or highlights of the trip, rather than give the reader a chronological account.
22, 23, 24, 25, 25. We gotta add normal things, like adding normal things to each children. So we can do it. So to add presents all the time at my school.
What did I miss?
I thought I was about my school.
Oh, you were telling about the school. Okay.
Yeah, talk about Christmas.
Focus not on reporting the entirety of your 9-day trip. Instead, pick a scene from one of those 9 days and wrap your story around that. Did you meet people? What surprised you? What impressions stayed with you afterwards? You might choose to write about the day you walked around Athens, but try to focus on something unusual and out of the ordinary. You might write about how dogs seem to be everywhere, at sidewalk restaurants, even on the steps of the Parthenon. Everybody knows what the Parthenon looks like, but not everybody knows that dogs run free there. Write about the conversation you had with a left-handed bouzouki player, or the other street musicians you encountered, or the graffiti that seemed to be everywhere. Describe what you hear, see, touch, taste, and smell. Let the reader draw most of the conclusions. Avoid non-descriptive words like amazing and awesome. Rather than telling the reader that something was awesome, depict it in such a way that the reader thinks, wow, that's awesome. In this way, the reader becomes a participant and becomes more invested in your story. Try not to be relentlessly chronological. If you are writing about a sports event or a theater production or a kayaking adventure, resist the urge to start at the beginning of the day. A story should never start with a ringing alarm clock. Chronology is an easy organizing principle, but it also can flatten a story and make everything seem equally important so that nothing stands out. Instead, think of a different organizing principle that makes more sense for your story. Mary Karr begins The Liars Club in the middle of a dramatic event and works backward and forward in time from that imperfectly remembered moment. Perhaps you want to start your dramatic retelling of the championship game with 2 out in the 9th and you crouching in the on-deck circle. How did you get there? What's going through your mind? Finally, ask yourself this all-important question. Why should we care? If you can make the reader feel the dramatic tension in your story from the first paragraph, you've overcome the first challenge to any successful piece of writing, getting the reader's attention. Now it's up to you to hold it.